During World War II, John enlisted in the Air Force and served as a bomber pilot in Europe, flying out of England. And when he was released from the service, after the war was over, he came to Chicago. We were married in Chicago, and he became an artist with Chicago Tribune. Well, along came the Korean War. His group was reactivated. But as he was around Chicago, he became acquainted with car washing, and he had always loved washing his own car, keeping it clean and waxed. So there were other officers that were interested in setting up a business, and they suggested, while they were playing cards one evening, that one of them should get out of the service and start the business, and then it would open up the door for the others when they were separated from the service. So John always said that they flipped coins, and he was the loser, so he was the one to get out of the service and start the business. So this was going to be the business he wanted.
Well, I think the best thing about the early days was the fact that my father worked 7 days a week, so my mother was the policewoman keeping track of the kids. So we got away with murder. So one day I remember that we stopped at one of the car washes in Madison, and my brother and I got out of the car and we went to the car wash. We climbed up a ladder over the ceiling in the walkway, and we didn't know we were supposed to step on the studs to get across, so we ended up falling through the ceiling panels and right there in front of the customers, and the customers were all kind of in shock.
So a friend of ours was selling advertising specialties. They were called Little Octopus. So this friend said, "Why don't you give one to each one of your customers and call your car washes Octopus?" John thought, that is a good name. That's what we want. So from that time on, we were Octopus Car Washes.
My father, once he got in the business, he was compelled that he was going to wash cars without the use of friction. So as time went on, we all got together, and it was all of the managers, myself, my father, we all figured that we're not chemists, but how difficult can it be? So we start making products that were going to just clean the car by the application of chemicals on the car, and then remove it with high pressure hot water, go through the blower, and bingo, you got a clean car. Well, it didn't really work out that way. That took about, I'd say, 25 years to try and figure out how to find the right product in order to get the answer. When I was in my early 20s, I would follow him around at the car wash conventions, and people almost had to take a number and wait in line to talk to Mr. Jurkens, because Mr. Jurkens was quite the entrepreneur in the car wash industry. He was seen as a leader, and people wanted to rub elbows with him, to find out how he made himself and what tricks of the trade that he could teach them. So that went on for years. But my father, his passion, I mean, if you want a passion in business, he had a passion. If you're going to be successful, you have a passion. And his passion was just trying to get the cleanest car he could at the lowest price he could, and just build business. And he was also an entrepreneur as far as pricing was concerned, where his peers always got upset at him because John's attitude was you give him a low price and you increase volume, where the rest of the industry always felt that you attain the value of the wash and that's what you charge. Well, John's volumes grew quite a bit versus his peers. So he was kind of a leader and innovator in that area.
Even though money can be a driving force in many people's beliefs and background, it wasn't that way with my father. It was more important for him to share. Whatever wealth he had, it was important for him to share, particularly with the people he worked with and worked for him. So early on, he decided that it was important for his employees to share in the distribution. Any profits that we made, oftentimes the managers would get a portion of that. It was very important to him. He felt as though if I reward my people and keep them happy, they will stay, and generally that's what happened. Many of our employees stayed with us for years. And he just liked to reward people and take care of his employees.
So my father he would find sites to buy, and he'd try and buy them 50 cents on the dollar, and he was usually successful at it. But the problem was he could expand, but he didn't have the people to expand with. So he would always search out the people who were hardworking guys and people that would come to him looking for a job. The test was, were his hands rough? If his hands were rough, he knew he was a worker. When my father started the business, it was all full service. So you had to spend a lot of time on the cars, you had a lot of employees. Each location had probably 35 or 40 employees. So it was just a handful just trying to keep track of all the employees. So as time went on, full service became a dying breed, and so the industry just changed. And so John, during his tenure in the full service business, was a giant. He understood the concepts. When the exteriors came along, he said, nobody's gonna vacuum their own car, that's crazy. And as of course today, everybody's vacuuming their own car. I love the guy, I loved working for him. He was a hard ass. He busted my ass a few times, more than a few times, but it was a school of hard knocks. And you know, life isn't always easy. You know, sometimes it's a hard knock life out there. In a Lifetime Achievement Award, I think he probably deserves like 100 of them, because he's just a unique fella. When God built him, he broke the mold, and he was my best friend. I worked with him together for over 30 years, and I think that he would appreciate the award, but he would probably say it really wasn't necessary, because he was just having fun doing what he loved to do. As far as my family's concerned, we look at this and we say it's quite an honor, because he was one of those kind of guys you just gravitate toward, that you want to talk to, that you want to befriend, because he was so informed, and he always had a different angle at the answer than what most operators thought they were going to hear. And so his intuitive nature, his desire to be the best at what he did, and he was a great father. I mean, he was just a terrific father. He cared about his kids, he loved his wife, and that was a great role model for all of us.